Hey up guys, what's going on and welcome back to England here. Not really much news to speak of. Lewis Cook took an injury, that's about it. We'll bring you the games after the intro. Now obviously I'm not going to go into any details about what's happening with York, pretty good, but I'm not going to go into any more details than that. The first match of course we have to play here is kind of a big one for a brand new manager of England, and that's away in Scotland. It's a group that sees us also with Northern Ireland and Spain of course, we knew that. Spain to come after this, and here we have a nice 7:30 kickoff at Hampton Park, Glasgow. It's a drizzly 18 degrees in Scotland, so never change Scotland. And in terms of team selection, this is how we're going to line up here. Now, there's actually one major name that escaped my attention in yesterday's roundup video, and that's Jadon Sancho, who for some reason was not called up during the last tournament. No idea why, but he's in the team now. I thought it might be because he was kicking off at his club, but that's what was happening on my stream save, and that was due to me trying to sign him, and Man United having no intention of letting him go for anything less than £105 million. So he got quite upset at that. So did I. But that was over there, not over here, so I don't know why he was left out of the tournament in the summer. But he's back in my squad, obviously, as the best inside forward in the England lineup. Now, of course, these first two England matches are mostly about feeling out the squad, working out who should really be the starters. I've gone with a little bit of a mixture of the players that I'm being suggested to start and the players I think should be starting here. I think Chilwell should be starting at left back because Sessegnon's not really a defender. Made even clearer by the fact he was in the midfielder section of the squad list. So, you know, stop trying to tell me to put him in defence then. But the lineup will be as follows. Pickford will stay in goal for the time being, whilst I try and find an actual keeper for the future. There's one who might be okay. I found out he's over 21, which is why we didn't see him last time around. But we'll see if he gets any better because Pickford starts until he does, and Dewhurst will take over once Pickford inevitably declines as a human being. But Pickford starts, Chilwell at left back, Courage and Gomez in that middle, Trent at right back, Mount and Bellingham will start in that midfield. Those are two positions that are a little bit up for grabs. Neither of them theoretically the best people in those positions. But we're going to start them in this match against Scotland. Obviously, bear in mind we've got to play Spain in 3 days' time, so we don't necessarily want to be using our best team against Scotland. No offence. Sancho will start on the left, Foden in the middle, Greenwood on the right as basically the only inside forward on the right side, and Watson will start up front. He's having a much better season this year already. And their team features a few faces that you will be recognising at this stage of the game. Obviously, Sibbald, Manchester United's striker up front, Laidlaw at Tottenham. Behind him, Gilmour, of course, of actual Chelsea. Tierney of actual Arsenal in this lineup as well. Makita, you may recognise him. I think he's at Tottenham. We looked at trying to get him. I think he was meant to be released on a free at the end of the year, but they ended up signing an extra year on his contract. So we were looking to get him, but we ended up with Castillo at York. So you may recognise that name. John Soutar's on the bench. I recognise that name. Off we go, basically. Show me what you can do. That's literally what I want to hear from this, to be honest. That's all I need right now. A win would be nice, of course. But that's what it's mostly about, and God's sake, send the assistant. Just send the assistant to deal with a question about my first game in charge, so logic. But there's a highlight straight from the off here with Courage now taking up this ball, Sancho on it, coming through the middle somewhat. Watson will get on the end of this, and well, we'll score within 2 minutes. I couldn't have asked for a better start. Nathan Watson, namesake of course, and assisted by the player that was left out of the previous setup that I brought back in, so he's obviously got a point to prove. Unnecessary spin there from Jadon Sancho. I always love it when that happens. I don't know why that's coded into the game or how that even happens, but Watson converts. Not the greatest of saves from Lyle there in the Scotland goal. Gotta be honest, I think their main players are at the other end of the pitch that we've got to worry about. Well, he scored twice. Does Scotland realise this isn't a friendly? I mean, let's be honest with Scotland, it's never a friendly, but Watson, Lyle's gone the wrong way there. It's not his best 3 minutes of football. Trent takes it quickly from that almost layoff. I mean, it's accidental what happens there, the assist, but we'll take any luck we can get. In terms of call-ups, I think the only main call-ups otherwise is Tony McGee we brought up in place of John Stones. We certainly replaced a defender with John Stones. I've forgotten who it is now. And obviously Lewis Cook being injured means we've brought up Andy Stockbridge from Arsenal. And Sancho's now scored, and it's 3-0. Stockbridge and Grimes, theoretically, are both better, star rating-wise and comfortability-wise, in that deep line playmaker role where Mount is currently. But like I say, this is the first match and it's against Scotland, and we don't really want to be going full against them either, especially considering this. So we'll probably see Grimes start the second one, although I probably should have started Grimes in the first one now I think about it, so he was less tired for York. Watson takes over here. He's going to come through a little bit. No. Two people hunting down Lyle there, but Chilwell takes over Mount and Sancho. I kind of wish I called up Bradley Saxton now. Well, it's 4-0. Spain winning their game. I mean, as clearances, goal kicks, clearances go, that's not brilliant. Watson's just straight on the end of this, and basically it's just 2 kicks and he's back in their net again. Yeah, Nathan Watson this year seems to be on a little bit more fire than he was last year. 6.99. That's long gone. He's on a 7.57, I think it was, for Chelsea. 9.5 in this game. Sancho with 2 assists, Foden with 1, and Trent with the other, I think it is. So here comes another corner. Foden's going to give it back out to Mount here. Well, he's just giving that straight to Robertson. I'm presuming at this point of the game that Andy Robertson is too old. Mason Mount, though, has been injured at some point, but he squeaked that free kick into the near post somehow. We'll watch that one in 3D just to see how that one's managed to get past. I'm gonna have to look at his goalkeeping stats here, because this is not a great showing from Lyle. Oh dear. Oh, that's a bit of a De Gea, isn't it? There's another highlight. Give me an opportunity to look at their goalkeeper, please. Oh, Sybil's on the ball. Something might happen here. He's against his own goalkeeper there in Pickford, because they're both at Manchester United at this stage. Laidlaw, though, puts this one in, resulting, and well held by Pickford. Right, we need to have a look at this, because, well, he's Celtic's goalkeeper. I'm pretty certain we scouted him for York at one point, which is why we've got this on the right-hand side. Probably when I was looking to get a backup for Dutra. Dodged that bullet, seemingly. But Mount's injury, though, we probably replace him at half-time, actually. I'm not sure how many substitutions they actually get in this match. But we'll bring Grimes on now. So to say, I'm pleased. Mason Mount is confused and demotivated. Is he confused? Is he only confused because I've taken him off? I'm confused by his confusion. Why has that happened? Anyway, cracking game going on between Denmark and Switzerland. Meanwhile, Chilwell takes over on this left-hand side. Now, Chilwell's 34. We brought this up in yesterday's episode. This is the overview episode. So we obviously will be looking for a longer-term replacement. That probably will be Bradley Saxton in the long term. And in fact, I probably will call him up in the next squad. I just thought I'd give that a little bit more of a transitionary period. I didn't want to show too much favouritism to my York boys. So, Grimes obviously here. Bradley will join them next time. I'm going to presume there's only 3 subs. Sancho's a bit tired now. Watson's had 3 goals. Like, we've got plenty of options if we want to bring people on at this stage. The problem with Chris Tipple is he's not an inside forward. Even though he's got inside forward on his sort of list on this right-hand side, everything is basically the same. He is right-footed. So we do have a bit of an issue on this right-hand side. But I'm just going to bring him on over there. It doesn't really matter. We're 5-0 up at this stage. Just getting fresh legs on the pitch more than anything. Trent to Foden to Tipple. It's just nice using Chris Tipple, to be honest. And Nathan Watson, for that matter. Just 2 wonderful English strikers that we've got in the game at the moment, but I have no hope of signing at this stage. Chilwell. Tipple. Oh, it's not tippled in. And that's kind of part of the argument of actually taking on this job in general, just getting to play with some of these players I've had no chance to. Trent, obviously. Bellingham's gone to, I think, Liverpool now. Or is it Southampton on this one? It's hard separating my 2 saves right now because they're both in the Premier League and both in Europe. Back to Pickford, though. As the second half's actually been quite quiet, considering. Just going to praise him in general. That might fire them up, weirdly. Watson's going to come through, maybe get a 4th. Oh, nearly. Yep, praising them's fired them up for the last few minutes. Spain running out 3-1 winners in Spain. Foden. Over to Tipple, who has got a goal. It's 6 in the dying seconds of the game. 91 minutes on the clock. And it's 6-0. It all comes from a throw-in. Rashford gives it to Phil Foden, who is completely unmarked in that box, and Tipple drifts away from his markers and heads in at the far post. Great work, everyone. Statement made. Statement made against a team that apparently beat England last time out. I mean, that's a wonderful performance. I can say nothing else but that. Mount's expected to be out for 2 days. He might be back for the Spain one, but I probably won't start him anyway because that was the intention. Nathan was fantastic. Jadon was fantastic as well. See you for Spain in 3 days. Also, just praised someone at York. Now I've got to deal with registration stuff at York as well. Why do they always overlap? Wait, has Sancho never been in the England team? He's only got 10 caps. What? You know what's happened here? Chris Wilder's been in charge for 7 years. I know what's happened. He's used his 5 at the back formation, hasn't he? Which doesn't include wingers. Which is why there's so many central defenders in the first team in the first place. That's what's happened. And that's why we don't really have any inside forwards or wingers on that right side in general either. Because for 7 years, there's been no reason to even try to become a winger for England. Because there's no place for you. Order has been resumed. Welcome back, Jadon. Which means technically in this save, Jadon Sancho has become the most wronged player in international football. Right, so 4 meetings in the past 10 years or so. England won twice, Spain won twice. Finally poised on that regard. We are playing in England at Wembley. And of course, it's only a few days after the last match, so everyone's a bit tired. Great. We are going to have to play with 3 of the same team. Greenwood and Foden remain just because there's no other options, and Watson will stay up front because 89's okay for a striker, I'd argue, and same 89 for the defender. I'd argue they'd be okay. Greenwood and Foden probably going to have to come off some point, but otherwise, let's get Spain. Xiao's not playing Declan Rice in any way, shape or form, despite being captain. The Spanish team is actually mostly new gens at this point. I say mostly, actually. There's 4. Fati on the left, of course, we know about him. Oyarzabal fantastic, particularly in this year's game. Saul and Rodri. We know both of those. Saul from Atletico, beat to save. Rodri, Manchester City. 2 Barcelona players in the defence and 2 new gens. No idea where they're at. We'll have a look at Iglesias up front. Yep, he can be their hero. This lad on the right-hand side is being tracked by Manchester United, if the news are to be believed. I can see why. Kepa's in goal with Simon and Leeds Danny Martin. A name that we all recognise on the bench as well is Marty Ingler, who of course was on loan with us in the Championship. Pick up exactly where you left off. You've only had to come back to London. It's not as if you've had much effort to get here. And round 2 of this International League gets underway. Looks like they've stuck with a few more players that they played against Northern Ireland with. They're looking decidedly more tired, particularly up front, which is a good sign, really. 25 minutes gone. We've not really seen anything at all, although according to the stats we are on top of this, just about. Ben Godfrey and Grimes combine. It's gone over to this left-hand side. Rashford is going to try and impress me a little bit, maybe. Sessegnon trying to prove he is actually a defender. Not really, because he's actually in their box, pretty much. Rashford regathers this and comes into the box once more. Greenwood's at the back post. The Manchester United players nearly combine. Now, I'm a little bit confused by Northern Ireland's appearance in this top division group. But then again, there is this sort of promotion-relegation thing that goes on in this international tournament, so I can only presume they were top of the second division's group last year. Max Aarons skies it, which is how they've managed to squeak into our group. There's a group elsewhere, which I think is Portugal, Germany, France, and a poor sod in the 4th place in that group. I can't remember who the 4th one is in that group now, but good luck. And yet we've got Scotland and Northern Ireland in ours. It's a bit baffling. But Grimes comes onto this ball now, and Rashford once more with Sessegnon on this left-hand side. No, obviously you've not really seen much of this formation yet because you've only played the one game with York against Southampton that you guys have seen, but you can see a little bit more of how it works with this England setup. I'm using exactly the same system here. Iglesias gets on the end of that, heads over. You can see how a player like Sessegnon is going to enjoy a formation like this, which kind of encourages those fullbacks to get around the opposing defence, which, let's be honest, you don't really trust Sessegnon to actually put a tackle in. I mean, you weren't that bad. You played well. One person actually cares. That's great news. Now, the best news for England as a whole here is Oyarzabal and Fati, 2 players I would argue are their best. A, not having great games, and B, the most tired, and one of them's now come off. Although he's come in for Keezer, who is also pretty good. Player that I looked at in the summer. They made all 3 of their changes. 70 minutes have gone. The second half just rattled past, actually, without me realising. And as suspected, Greenwood and Foden are going to have to make way. Now, Mason Mount is the best option to bring on here. Obviously not completely match fit himself. I don't know why Tipple's upset, by the way. Something's gone on in Manchester City for him to be upset. I can only presume he was denied a transfer somewhere. Gomez in the central defence is a bit tired as well. But we'll just hold on to that third sub in case we desperately need it elsewhere. Fati is still on the pitch and has headed that down to Quenca, because you must mostly pronounce it with a soft C. Godfrey, Stockbridge now on this ball. Of course, we just brought in the 2 other midfielders that were promoted to this team, Grimes and Stockbridge, and not really mentioned them so far this game, mostly because they haven't really featured in any of the highlights so far. But here's Grimes again. Aarons on this right side, inwards to Tipple, who is a better right foot than left foot, but we'll see how he gets on here. Straight at Kepa. I mean, they've not had a shot on target, so we can feel a little bit aggrieved to not be winning this one. And I'm just looking at the fact that Juan Miranda is on 67 and Fati is on 61. I'm just wondering if we should maybe target that side. Particularly as Rashford is not going to come off, I don't think. And then what is probably going to be a little bit of a selfish change on my side is I'm going to bring Declan Rice on for Grimes just because he's getting a bit tired and I want him for my York team. 83 minutes gone. There's a chance of it. Oh, Gomez has headed in from a corner. Didn't even get to finish my sentence. Thanks, Joe. But that was whipped in quite quickly. And Spain are playing a defensive 5-2-2-1 currently. That was not something I was expecting to see going into this match. Have they hired Chris Wilder? But the rest of this match is just disappearing. There's a late free kick for England here. It's headed across their defence, but Rashford will get on to the end of their sort of clearance. Godfrey, backwards to Rice, who's already been booked. Great captainship there. So, forward to Akiza, and actually this might be a chance for Spain after all. Akiza is going to come forward here. Thought he was about to be wiped out by an England player. Well, if that was the highlight, it's dealt with. Meanwhile, Northern Ireland have been smashed by Scotland 4-1. I don't feel confident Northern Ireland will get anything out of this group. But Pickford will deal with this goal kick, and hopefully this game will wrap up as soon as it gets somewhere near the halfway line. That's normally when the referee blows the whistle. Not yet. Still not yet. Aarons has been fouled by Saul. We might get the resulting free kick. No, we don't. And, well, considering that was Spain, we'll take a 1-0. But the performance, I'm going to let you in a bit of a secret in regards to York. Yeah. We played 4 games. Most of them look like this, stat-wise. Not going to tell you the results. I mean, it's a good win for us in general. Under-20s beat the Spain Under-20s at Norwich. Great game for Carrow Road. Yeah, the fact we didn't score to the 85th minute, 84th minute was quite sensational there. But in the European International League Group A, Division A, Group 3, gotta get them the right way around. I realise it's the Nations League, by the way, as I was editing yesterday's episode. Every time I said I didn't know what it was called. I think it's Nations League, isn't it? That's what it's called. Anyway, 2 wins from 2, 7 goals, none conceded. Can't really have asked for a better start than that. We won't see any more of these games, by the way, unless we get to the knockout part of it. Not really going to care too much about this. Northern Lions next anyway. And considering, well, they were being 4-1 by a team that we beat 6-0. So that should be fun. I have no idea if you just heard that from Siri, but apparently she's got no information for T-Rex. No idea how that was the translation that went through there, but okay. So yeah, you're not likely going to see anything from an England point of view until this whole group thing's dealt with next summer. I think it is next summer when the actual end portion is, because then you get to qualification stages of the 2030 tournament, which I think is a World Cup. So until next time, of course, tomorrow we'll be back with York with actually the next game on the calendar, Manchester United. Well, I will also reveal our EuroLeague group. Until then, ta-ra.